Guys, today I am sitting down with image consultant and personal stylist Deidra Butler-Edmondson. Did I pronounce it right? I pronounced it right. Okay. Today we're going to discuss the world of fashion, how it is being a stylist. Did you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us about you and all things in your world.
Okay, well, again, my name is Deidra Butler-Edmondson, super long, but we go by Deidra Deanna. And yes, again, I am an image consultant and I am a personal stylist. So I specialize in like entertainment consultant, specializing in all things style, creative direction, and entertainment development at the moment. So I mostly have kind of like an array of clientele at the moment, but I am focusing more on entertainment media production and artist development. So I have a couple of artists under my belt that I am currently working with. And yeah.
Tell us a little bit how you got into that. What was like an interest? I've known you forever. For everyone watching, this is basically my aunt.
Hey.
So my interest for fashion has developed through her and knowing her and seeing her my entire life. So tell everyone here how you got into that. What was the interest of yours that made you want to branch into that industry?
Oh, that's a loaded question, but I mean, it's not, but it is. Um, so basically how I got into it, fashion has kind of always been like something that's in me. From like grade school, I used to go around the house cutting up stuff and my mom would have to hide the scissors and all that from me. So I don't know. My mom is a little, she got a little razzle dazzle.
Got her sparkle.
So she got a little
Sparkle.
razzle dazzle. So I feel like that's where it comes from, where it roots from. But the growth and the remaining interest of it kind of just like developed over time. I in grade school into high school, I was either making my clothes or I was wearing whatever. Like literally, you look back, I look crazy, but it was I loved it because it was like, oh, what you doing? So, so it started there. But as far as the professional piece is, I started with working with a lot of like close family friends and close family members that just needed my thoughts and opinions about certain looks and what they should do. And so I didn't realize what an image consultant was long ago, but that's what I, initially was doing. And so whether it was attending an event, prom, whatever the case was, like all the questions would come to me. So started helping friends and things like that. And because I have a very musical family and kind of a musical upbringing and music and fashion go hands in hands, that is really the professional side of it, how I got into doing it more regularly because I was singing. Not just in church, but I was singing for other gospel artists up and coming and established. I was doing studio sessions and I don't know, there's a group called, was a group called Tony Moore and Jehovah's Chosen. And that was kind of like my first professional entrance into what I was already doing because I ended up getting little, and when I say little, like coins, pennies of pennies to help get the group together when we had engagements and or photo shoots or whatever. So it started there and then everything from that was kind of like word of mouth and then so others knowing what I did, recommending me to other people. So then I started working with an artist who was already a recording artist and she was working on producing one of her first her first music albums and videos. So I kind of helped with the styling and the direction of what she should do and what the band should do. And then from then on, it kind of like stuck with, oh, this person needs help with that. So it kind of just, snowballed, and fast forward to more current times is I currently have background singer background singers that I assist in styling, whether it is image consulting or whether it's physically, styling them for their performances, rehearsals, travel. I was blessed to get introduced to a couple that are now 6-time Grammy nominated and 2-time NAACP nominated and award winning jazz group called the Baylor Project. And one of the artists that I worked with previously recommended me for their first Grammy scenario. And now here we are 4 years later, and I've been working with them for every single Grammy, every single award season, the majority of their performances, and any tours or video shoots or photo shoots that they have going on. So I started to shift into production, media production styling in around the end of 2021 into 2022. I know I'm saying a lot. I'm saying a whole.
No, keep going. This is
But
good. Keep going.
towards the end of 2021 into 2022, I got a taste of some continued media production. I did a media production wardrobe styling a few years before then with Visit Philly campaign in Philadelphia. And then there was, that time that I wasn't doing any more production, but then doors opened for me to be able to then work with Verizon doing a commercial, and then also with TV1 and Clio TV. So yeah, that is
That's good.
that started, and that's where I am now.
No, that's really good. Like a lot of people don't think like I remember I had a conversation with someone one time when I said like I wanted to go into image consulting and PR and wardrobe styling and all of that. And they specifically asked about like the image consulting and the wardrobe styling portion. Like, do people really make money doing that? Can we dive into that? Like, how was the process of establishing yourself and turning a passion into how the process of monetizing a passion?
Yes. So it is absolutely positive. I'm positive. It's absolutely possible to achieve that. And I will say that, image consulting actually, I feel like, is even more important than the actual styling. When you think about it, even though it all goes hand in hand, the consulting process is really like honing in on what the creative direction, color schemes. There's things that I work with. They're called creative decks, and those are usually sent to me by whatever production
Yeah.
company that I'm working with. So it's like the bigger picture. So you kind of see the map of A to B and how they want it to flow on their end. But then the creative piece is where I come in, and it's like, what do I need to choose that flows and works with the directive that they're asking for, but is still catering to either that individual's personal style, while still remaining true to the brands, or the production, whatever that production may be. So I feel like that is the part that is probably the best part to monetize on, because even if you're not physically styling,
Mhm.
your assistance in how things should look, how somebody's hair should be, how their makeup should be, what
Right. Yeah.
items work with their body type, because everybody doesn't understand fit and function and color and tones and undertones and all of
Yeah.
these things. Like people see stuff that they like, but what they like is not necessarily what's best for them. It doesn't always work for them. So as far as image consulting, it's kind of diving into that and letting that, like, helping that person to understand what they should be focusing on. Even some people, I hear people, say like, oh, I, want to lose or plan to lose 5, 10, however many pounds. But it's like, really, you should be dressing yourself the way your body is now. And then, tweaks can be made, alterations can be made, all of those kind of things. But it's really kind of like learning your, to monetize, I feel like, is learning who your target market is, because that'll give you the direction of who you even want to reach, who you even want to assist, reach out to, whatever the case is. So understanding who your target market is super important, because then you know who to go after. And then doing the research. Research is always, it's going to be a thing. It's always going to be a thing.
Yeah.
The littlest things, and I research the biggest things, but research is always going to be your best friend, because you may not know how much you want to charge. You may not know what the conversation should be like if you're doing something for the first time. Like when I did my first production, I didn't have an in-depth conversation about the pay, but they knew what their budget was, and because it was my first thing, I was okay with it. But then moving forward and learning and knowing, like, this is the direction that I want to go in, I did my research on the rates in your city, the levels of what the production is and how they go about charging. So because every thing is a case by case scenario, you could have you're always going to have your prep days, and then you're actually going to have the actual production day. Yeah. So early on, I didn't even factor in the prep days being a part of the entire package.
The process, yeah.
But that is something that production, they are aware of. So whether it is 2 production day or 2 prep days and then a production day, whatever that time frame is, you have to kind of like have the conversation and then do your own research and then kind of meet in the middle of negotiating until you are fully comfortable with countering or saying, like, I'm used to getting this amount versus that. So you set your prep rate, your day prep rate, because that could be 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, but you have a flat prep rate per day, and then your production rate. And that is generally the conversation that you're having when you're meeting with, emailing a production team. And the more confident you are about the research that you've done, the easier it is for them to just agree and keep it moving.
So, no, that's great. I love this. Like, I love this.
I feel like I am yammering.
No, this is like, so like, this is really good. Like, we have like conversations like all the time about this. Mm-hmm. So now that it's in like a professional setting, now we get to really like indulge on stuff that we've already discussed for so long. What was and like other people listen in. So what's the process of like the Grammys process? Like me and you, we always talk about it. Like that's a process that starts months and months and months ahead of the time. You're probably already prepping for next year without even realizing.
I am on hiatus from award season. I am on hiatus from award season until I can't be on hiatus from award season.
Yeah. So what's like the process you go through for that? Like, when does it start? How in depth is it in the beginning to the date of? What's the steps you take? The planning process kind of is always up in the air, because every year it's not
a given that you're going to be nominated
Right.
for a Grammy. So, thank God that they have been blessed to be nominated 6 times, but it's been 4 years consecutively. So, but yeah, so it's not a given. So the process doesn't start until they kind of know when the votes will be in. So the voting is not done by, us, we the people, but it's done by chairman. It's done by all of these different components and departments within the Grammy community. And so in that process, there is a voting time, and all artists that have put out work and submitted their work, they're, pushing for okay, votes are open, even though the everyday person cannot vote, but there's a time frame that they're pushing for their work to be voted on. And then it changes every year, but they select a date when they tell all the artists that have submitted their work, like, okay, the votes will be in this Tuesday, whatever date. And it's normally, I want to say, so, okay, this year it was in April. Was it in April? Yes, it was in April. Last year. No, it was in February this year. Last year it was in April. So they were notified that the votes would be in, I believe, sometime in the middle of November. And again, it was this February that passed, 2023. And so it's kind of like you're hoping and you're praying that the artists get nominated, and then they don't know until everyone else knows that you are in fact nominated. So when that call, that announcement is made, whatever is made, and then they're aware, then I get a text message or or something sent. So this past Grammy season, I actually didn't even know that they were nominated until somebody else told me. So they told me, the votes will be in this day, but I didn't actually know until sometime in the evening time, and they found out like that morning. So once I'm told, okay, we have work submitted, there's a possibility, I already kind of have to be mentally prepared. Like, okay, if they get nominated, then full speed ahead, but I can't really make any moves until that call is made. So once I found out towards the end of November, then it kind of was like full speed ahead. But the challenges, I will say, or all of the factors that go into that is, planning and preparing and working with schedules. So that is a huge thing, especially when you're working with active people, active artists, active, and in this case is active artists. And so nothing stops because you have to prepare for the Grammy. So they were still, and even more in 2022, they were doing a lot more shows, traveling a lot more, still even now. So then we had to, kind of like finagle and work out like what our timeline looked like. So what time did we actually have time for fittings? What time did we actually have time for meetings? And kind of everything ends up in my boat because I do lead with the consulting and styling direction. So from hair to wardrobe, design, all of that it kind of falls on me. And then once I know, okay, it's a go, I've been working with one designer with my client Jean Baylor the last 4 years. So every Grammy we have worked with the same designer, Black owned. I'm all about and wanting to push working with more Black designers because, all of the haute couture designers and all of that stuff is great, but I want to work with my people. I want to push great work. So I was able to get connected with this lovely person. Her name is Ayasa Afi, and we've literally been working together since the first Grammy year one, which was 4 years ago. And so once that call is made, once the wheels are going, I make a call to Ayasa and we're already on it. She's already mentally prepared and we work so well together, which is why I continue to consistently use her for jeans specifically, because at this point we know her body, we know her dislikes. And there was a huge journey from then to now, because when I first started working with her, it was like, I don't like clothes, I don't like fabric, I don't like so we've come a long way, but I start to brainstorm in the colorway the direction that I want to go with and what works for her specifically. All the years prior, I've assisted with styling Marcus Baylor, which is her, husband and bandmates. But in 2022 or 2021, 2022, I started styling him more. So then when this Grammy season came, I was styling him and his wife, Jean. So just kind of like brainstorming on colorways that work with their, I like to look at, what Pantone has going on for the season coming. And so I kind of like deep dive into that and what actually works on her, because I know I can't do pastels or things that wash her, because her complexion, it'll wash her out. So she likes vibrant colors, even if she was in the beginning scared to go that direction. But I know that looks good on her. So it's figuring out the colorway and then what I want to actually do. So are we doing pants this year? Are we doing a dress this year? What is the silhouette going to be? So I kind of like to refer back to the previous year, and I like to do the opposite, obviously, because every year, every round is different, higher. So we did pants, I believe, the previous year, and so I knew I wanted to do a dress. So then it was a meeting with Ayasa. We have like an hours long of deliberation, and we're just kind of like coming up with design ideas, and we just, piggyback and brainstorm with each other, and then we come up with the design. And then from there, we're figuring out, okay, I'm like, I like texture, and she's not so much of a frilly frou-frou type of lady. So I'm like, okay, I know we need to use texture. I know I want to incorporate hardware because she likes certain things. She doesn't like certain fabrics. She does like certain fabrics against her skin. So what's going to be comfortable, what's going to be stylish, what's going to be current but not trendy. So all of these factors are a part of the planning process, and that's before even going fabric shopping, and that's before even starting the fitting process. So I rarely give her much information. It's kind of like she just puts the ball in my court and I go. And every person is different, and Marcus is different. He needs to know every step. So with his look, we wanted to do something custom, but time schedule didn't allow for that. So I still wanted to have that custom touch. So fast forward, when we did figure out what he was going to do, I decided that adjustment should be made to his actual suiting to make it more modern, to kind of move him in a different direction. So it's two different people, two different body types, two different ways that they like things. So it's all of those factors are coming into play when processing the Grammy prep, and knowing how long the day is going to be. I factor in, will she have pockets? Will she not have pockets? Is she going to be able to stuff snacks somewhere? Like, I factor all of these things in, her comfort level, all of those things. So that's kind of the process, and it is ongoing up until the last seconds. And when I say the last seconds, I mean we are on the red carpet and figuring things out. I mean, at that point, she's fully dressed, but it started from November when we found out up until that day of February. And that is not that's just the day up. That is just actual Grammy day. We we still have all the events leading
in
up.
between.
Exactly. So we have, and again, they've been working so much and pushing so much music and collaborating so much that they eventually ended up attending more events this past season. So we had Clive Davis party. She had a panel she had to speak on and sing at. And it was just like back to back. I think their week started because Grammys was February 4th. Their week started that, and which is a Sunday. Their week started that Tuesday. I flew in that Thursday, and they had events from Wednesday until Saturday night, and then even after Grammy Day, they had after party. So I did for two people. What was the number? It was 30 something. I might be making that. Am I making it up? I don't know. It was in the double digits for two people for those days, and including Grammy Day. It was about 20, 15, 18, 20, somewhere. It was double digits. That's the amount of looks that they had.
That's a lot. So you told us a little bit about how her style has the evolution of her style has changed. I remember the first Grammy look you did with her, I believe, was a jumpsuit, if I'm not mistaken. And then this year, and it was more like a toned down color in the blacks and blues, if I'm not, if yeah, I believe blacks and blues. And then this year was more, there was a lot more vibrant colors. And her hair was even different. What was the process you went through of, changing up her style and what she's into, and was it hard to get someone out of their box of what they're accustomed to?
Again, every person is different. Some people are kind of more open to whatever you have to direct them in, and then there are some people that are very specific about their comfort level. Jean in particular, she's a very bubbly, fun, vibrant, energetic person, and once we met with each other and we all hit it off right away, but I always wanted to stick to her, what actually matched with her personality. And even though in the beginning it was very like, let's try and see. So the first year was safe, which is why we stayed with the blacks and the blues. It's kind of like, okay, let's introduce a little bit of color, but not too much. The silhouette was very safe. It was a convertible look. So her red carpet look, it was like a lace mock neck, kind of bell sleeve top, and it had this kind of like high-waisted wrap skirt. And then later that night she was able to convert into a pant. So it was the same top silhouette, and it was just like an all black look. Her hair was like a black bob. There was no color involved. Very, very safe. And again, as the years progress, this is like time, put in with figuring out like the direction that we should go, what she's comfortable with, what I can get away with. But still her being comfortable at the end of the day. My goal is always going to be to make the person feel like themselves, even if they're trying something new for the first time, or they're, for her, I'm a super very visual person. She has to literally see it all together on her body in order to even catch the vision, which is fine. A lot of people are like that. So it's kind of being able to, forecast and all of these things that you just have to know, like what will actually work on your client's body. So that evolution is still an evolution, but we've come such a long way. She has become more and more open, and that's with a lot of individuals that I work with. They can be very nervous, or even if they're saying like, I trust you, do what you think is best. It's just that feeling of just knowing like they are so happy with the outcome, and they've never thought that they would have put something together or something would have looked this way on them. And that is like always the main goal. But with Jean in particular, it's always kind of like pushing the envelope inch by inch. And then with her going from the bob, which at that point her hair, you know, was a certain length, but the more we worked together, I think the year before this past Grammy, I had made the executive decision for her to go back to her throwback hairstyle, because again, she is in a jazz band currently, but she was a part of a 90s R&B group called Jeanne, and you know, one of their hit singles was Hey Mr. DJ. So you might be too for that, but
Yeah, I don't think I was born around that time.
But that was her signature. She had a low cut, and that was her signature look when she was in this group. It was just her and another singer, and they both had short hair, and that was her signature look. And because she literally looks like the same age to me as she did, I'm like, let's take it back. Let's throw it back. And she's been loving the short do. And so, you know, the past years and in this current year, we wanted to try color. So I just picked the color that I think will work best with the colorway of the outfit choice. And she's just okay with it. If I said purple, it's gonna be purple.
Purple. Hey, that's good. That's good though. What is it like? So you are newly married. September, I think. What, September?
Yes, the end of September. Yep.
So how has it been juggling a family and a full-time career and clients and being in an industry that is so fast-paced and anything could happen like that? How has it been juggling new marriage and a career that's fast-paced?
Child, I am still figuring it out. But and I don't even have like a family yet. Right. I got like a husband and a dog. And I be trying not to kill him every day, the dog. So I feel like I don't, as of right now, I'm still figuring it out, but I feel like this is kind of like he knows what I have been doing before and when we got together. So he's very, you know, supportive in that, and he knows that it could be anything. Every day of my life is different. Not one day is the same, and I don't think I ever want it to be the same, because that's what keeps me going. Because if I had this like mundane, predictable routine, routine, I think I'd probably go crazy. But so it's just kind of like every day is different. Every day I'm figuring it out. I'm shifting where I need to shift, and I know this is literally like where I'm at now is nowhere near where I'm going to be. Like I have so many goals and things that I want to do even within this career. So I know that means life is only going to get more hectic, and I'm going to have to refigure and configure, you know, how to move. Right now it's been pretty smooth. I have like my super busy spurts where I'm just kind of like on the go all the time, and then I'll have times where it's kind of like there's nothing going on. So as of right now, but I know that can easily change. That can change in a month, that can change in a year. So it's kind of really just being aware and anticipating that anything can happen at any time, and that we need to be ready for what that is and when that could be. And I feel like if we continue to think that we'll be, you know, okay, knowing that you don't have to like scramble to try to figure it out. It's kind of like, well, we knew that I might be, you know, traveling for this next thing or whatever the case is, even if we didn't know, you know, when it was actually going to happen. So I think that's what it was. That's what it is we've we've conversed a lot about what I want to do and where that could take me, and which can flip completely from how things are now. And so yeah, so have I locked it down, a schedule or a routine or a figured balanced life out? No, and I don't even have kids yet. So Lord, that's gonna be a whole nother thing. So it's just really figuring it out and trying to create as much structure that I can every day that I'm learning, so that I'm not like all over the place, which I often am. So yeah, we're figuring it out and going with the
you guys are, you know, you guys are so cute. I really like you guys together. I think he meshes with our family so well. So it's so like interesting to see the dynamics. But our final question for the whole process and this great conversation, I tremendously do thank you for doing this with us. Our last question is, what's new? What's coming up? Where do you see yourself detouring to now, as taking the break from the Grammys, having the summer? What's on your schedule now?
Yes, so that the Grammys was definitely a needed break, and because then it was award season, period. Because then NAACP was right after the Grammys. But anyway, so I'm kind of just hyper focusing on what direction I want to go next. I'm being super intentional this year about connecting more with, individuals, whether they're in my industry or not. It's just having that kind of like tribe that I am really intentional about building on this year. And, still doing shoots, still having client work that I need to personal shop for or give my image consulting input, and that's going to continue to be a thing. But this year I am really focusing on rebranding, moving in the direction more so of film and TV media production, because that is where my heart currently is. And I love working with production teams. I love meeting people, new people, and working in different, fields that is not just fashion. But even though it comes back to style and image, because everybody's got to put on clothes.
Right.
So just kind of like exploring that territory even more and expanding on that. And like expanding and building a team. So it's really focusing on my brand and the intentional things that I need to do and want to do so that I can go to the next levels of where I want to be. Like doing more film and TV, or if that leads me to costume, if that leads me to wherever it leads me, I am super open. But that is the focus and intention for this year, is to kind of like really hone in on the brand itself, my brand itself, and what I want to do going forward.
I love that. That's really good. We've had many conversations on where we want to go career wise and sharing that too. To see you are now in the entry steps of really being where you want to be at in your brand is truly inspiring. And we love to see it. Black Girl Magic rocks. And, but I truly thank you for taking this time with us. Your Instagram, let's share your Instagram, website, anywhere people can connect with you.
Yes. Okay, so again, my name is Deidra Butler-Edmondson, aka My Instagram handle is dionnastyle at dionnastyle. So DIONNASTYLE style. And my LinkedIn is also under my first and last name, Deidra Butler. I'm not a Facebooker. So there's a no on that. So maybe it's just Instagram. I'm being more intentional on being on social media too. That's I suck at it. But, yeah, so Dionna Style, DIONNA STYLE is my social media handle. And yeah, you can shoot me an email, a DM, and yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. We appreciate everyone for watching. This is going to be on YouTube and the blog. So like, share, subscribe, share with friends, share with your grandma, share with your uncle, all of that.
All of them.
Have a good one.
Bye.